Welcome to Steelers Weekly. I'm your host, Brian Schmidt. Alongside me is, of course, former wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Dwight. Dwight, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, young fella. How are you doing today?
I am doing outstanding, and, it always makes me happy when we get to sit here and we get to talk about a Steeler win.
Oh, yes.
We're going to jump right into that. 38-16, Monday night win, and a win on the road, and I've always been one in my coaching career. I've always said, hey, it doesn't matter how you win on the road. It can be by 1, it can be by 21, it can be clean, it can be ugly. It doesn't matter how you win, but this was really, I won't say this was a clean win, but this was a consistent win. First quarter, a little bit of problems offensively. But from the second quarter on, it was Steeler dominance on the offensive side. Ben Roethlisberger, 27-37, 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. D'Angelo Williams, and we're gonna talk about him here for a second. 26 carries, 143 yards, 2 touchdowns, 6 catches, 28 yards. Let's talk. Before we even get into some of the other guys. Let's just talk about him for a second. What an absolutely outstanding Week 1 performance.
If you're looking for something to hang your hat on, you look at, you got Bell missing. You say, D'Angelo showed up last year. What is he going to do for us this year? Was that a fluke last year, or is he the real deal? I think that kind of answers everybody's question. He's the real deal.
Oh, there's no doubt. I was thoroughly impressed with the game he had, and just not only the two touchdown runs that he had. Obviously the one run was great, but he did a great job with some tough 4 or 5 yard runs that really did a great job of getting first downs. Putting the offense in 3rd and 1s, and I just was real impressed with the game he had.
Yes, we were talking about that last week. Take the 4, take the 5 yard games. You're gonna break one here and there, and come to think about, I think he was named AFC Player of the Week. If I read that right somewhere, that he was AFC Player of the Week.
I believe you're right. I believe that's what I read as well.
And that's well deserving of him.
I thought he had the performance of the week. I thought he had really one of the best performances of the week for any of the NFL players. I thought it was an outstanding game, and then we go to your favorite position, receiver, and Antonio Brown, 8 catches, 126 yards, 2 touchdowns. Let's talk about. Let's talk about Norman here for a second, and let's kind of flip over to a Washington player. But I want your opinion on this, because this has been a discussion on a few shows. You're getting paid $75 million to be a lockdown corner, and you're only playing on one side of the field. How does that happen?
Please, I'd be a lockdown corner then. If you're a lockdown corner, you follow their best receiver wherever he goes. He goes to the bathroom, you go to the bathroom. He does the dance, you do the dance with him. No matter where he goes, you're with him. And like you said, we're going to talk about it, on 2 fourth down plays, he's on the other side. Antonio over there against another corner, he probably praying like, please, let's switch places with Norm. But he was a lucky guy to have Brown, and he realized that guarding him is not an easy task.
No, and it's funny you made the bathroom reference, because on the show last night I said, if I'm being paid $75 million to be a lockdown corner, Antonio Brown's not going to the bathroom without me. If he's going to the bathroom, I'm there holding the toilet paper.
Yes, we will be.
And just amazing that you're a lockdown corner being paid $75 million. You're playing one side of the field. I struggled with that one. But some other performances that I wanted to talk with you. We talked a lot about the tight end position.
Yes, Jesse James.
Jesse James, 5 catches, 31 yards. Again, that doesn't sound like a lot, but when you look at those 5 catches,
there you go.
3. I believe when I looked, we're talking 3 catches that were first down catches.
Keep the drive moving.
One ended up making it a 3rd and 1, 4th and 1.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a guy. I thought he blocked pretty well all night. I thought, again, we're talking about a 1-game sample, but I thought job well done for Jesse James.
I agree with you wholeheartedly because everybody looking at the man who left, Miller leaving, and to be your first game starting away from home in a hostile environment. When you go to Washington, and Washington got some good fans. They are diehard fans. They can come ready with their war paint on, and they're coming to bring the heat. But I think Jesse James, look at the Cowboy and Indian situation. Jesse James was a well-known cowboy, and he played the Indians. Just so happened, he came out on top this time.
Absolutely. And another receiver had a good game. Eli Rogers, 6 catches, 59 yards, 1 touchdown. Again, 6 catches, some very key catches. And, so there were some struggles early in the first quarter offensively. Some guys, again, not having, Marcus Wheaton.
Yeah.
There were some young guys that had to step up. But, again, from the second quarter on, job well done. I thought offensively, stepped up, made plays. You're talking about, quite honestly, 400 and, over 440 yards of offense.
Yes.
Just unbelievable. And I thought offensively, this is what we expected out of the Steelers, and this is what we got.
Oh, they did. They came, everybody predicted them to win the game, and like you said, they started off in the first quarter. Everybody, I guess, had the butterflies. I guess no matter how many years you've been in the league, that first game, the butterflies, you're away from home, you don't have your crowd behind you, to pick you up when you're not doing so good, but I guess they found it within themselves. And the O-line, they seem like they weren't in jail. I think they work on some things that they know they can get better at, coming up against Cincinnati. I think the O-line did a pretty good job, helping Ben stay upright. But Ben is a big guy. It's hard to get him down, but I think they really gave him time to do what he needed to do.
Yeah, you really didn't see him taking any big shots in the game. I thought that they opened up some good holes in the run game. Again, was it a perfect game offensively? No. Is there things that can get better? Absolutely. But that's what you expect after week 1. So I thought it was a real good performance. Certainly the calm before the storm, and we'll get into week 2 here in a little bit. But this is what you need. This is what you needed. You don't want to be going into week 2 0-1, playing badly. So. Offensively, I thought they played well. And then let's talk about the defense. I was very impressed and interesting that, Blitzburg really became Zoneberg.
Yes.
And, really a lot of zone, a lot of different zone. And, Cousins, he was 30 of 43 for 329 yards with 2 interceptions. He never looked comfortable.
You're right. I guess they probably been studying, the Steelers. They said, hey, they didn't come in. They're known for their Blitzburg. They're going to come from all different angles, safety, corners, whoever, the whole house going to blitz. But when they drop back in coverage, I think it messed up his reading of his progress. And I think him thinking that something was there that really wasn't there, and which was great. Because that's a whole new look for the Steelers. And it's good for other teams now. Not they always say, okay, the Steelers going to blitz, but now we got to read something else with this zone. What's this zone thing now? So it's something new. I'm looking forward to seeing it the rest of the year.
I am too, and like I said, I felt that there were times he was very uncomfortable. There were times where he, you could tell that he really wanted that first read. It wasn't there, and now he's got to go through the progression. You could just see. It was he was fighting it all night. And so I was very impressed defensively. Ryan Shazier, an interception, fumble recovery. the venerable one, James Harrison with an interception.
Yes.
I mean, I just felt like defensively, the secondary I thought looked very good. I mean, again, you're going to look at that 30 for 43. But what you got to look at is how many times was it 3rd and 8, and you're catching a completion and getting a 5-yard gain, 6-yard gain, and making tackles to prevent first downs overall the whole game. And to me, that's what I look at, the completion percentage and the yardage. When you're playing zone, it's going to be there, but it's what you're doing with it. If it's 3rd and 8 and they're catching a 6-yard pass, okay, great, we're punting. And the bottom line at the end of the day, 1 touchdown for Washington. 1 touchdown, 3 field goals. That's how you win football games, and so I was really pleased with that.
You're right. That's how you win games. Like you said, the tackle is very big. When you out there one-on-one, it's run after the catch. That's where everybody look at. Run after the catch. How many yards did you get after the catching the ball? Look at Antonio Brown. Run after the catch is crazy. But if you can tackle the guy, it's 3rd and 6, and you catch him, and he catches the ball to 4 yards, and you tackle him, he's 2 yards shorter. If he catches 5 yards, he's still 1 yard shorter. It's the run after the catch that hurts you. But I tell you, the Steelers have always been good tacklers, and I think their corner's doing a good job starting off the season.
Let's talk about the play of the game. And you and I, we talked a little bit last night about this. 4th and 1.
4th and 1.
You're in a run formation.
Mm-hmm.
They're loading the box. And actually, you've got, there's a run play. A run play is called. And I thought that, on the broadcast, it was mentioned on the broadcast by Gruden, and he was spot on. There was no doubt. It was a run play call, but Ben sees one-on-one coverage on the outside. Antonio Brown sees one-on-one coverage. And again, coming back to, Norman is not over there.
Not over there. Not over there.
And it's a simple hand signal, take a snap, quick play action, and let it go. 4th and 1, touchdown. Talk a little bit about that play and talk about, from a receiver standpoint, when you're looking at something like that, how excited are you as a receiver? You got that one-on-one shot.
Yeah, you got to look back in history. Jerry Rice, Joe Montana. Each one of them guys always said that they have a certain look that they may look at each other a certain way that no one else knows what they're doing. But they know what they're doing. They're on the same page. And that poor corner, I bet you he's probably thinking like, why am I out here? Norman should be out here. He knew then from the time the ball was centered that when he saw AB take off, he said, oh, this is trouble. And, the throw and the catch was crazy. You can tell they've been doing this for quite some time. It was in the right place. Couldn't have got thrown any better. The route, he squeezed the guy. He faded the ball, and it was just a perfect throw, perfect call. It's one of those things that you, from here on out, 4th and 1, people are going to say, if he's out there, because you have to. If you start doubling him, then you probably have a run. So it's harder to see what they're going to do. I'm looking forward to 4th down, and they're going for it. I love it.
I do too, and it's funny because, again, conversations that you have, I had somebody, say to me Monday, or Monday night after the game, what would have happened on that 4th and 1 if, the corner makes a great play, drops, overthrow, everybody's going to be complaining and screaming. And I said, absolutely everybody's going to be complaining and screaming, but at the same time, what you got to understand is that play now sets up every 4th and 1 from here on out.
Yes,
because you now are going to, as you said, you have to account for Antonio Brown. And now when you have to account for him, are you going to put 10 guys in a box? Maybe you're going to put 9 in the box because you want to have a safety over top. Now it opens up the run game. It also, it makes you start having to game plan, okay, on 4th and 1, we have to we got to give them something. Okay, we don't want to give them the one-on-one shot to Brown, so we got to take that away. So we're going to give them the run.
Yes.
So that one play sets up everything from here on out, because now, week 8, week 10, that situation, they're still going to come back to that 4th and 1 call. Teams are still going to come back to that and go, we don't want that to happen to us. I thought it was, a great, Ben Roethlisberger, seeing that, Antonio Brown seeing that, and them guys saying, okay, you know what, we got a run play call, but we're going to take the shot. I thought that was outstanding.
That's nice. Like I said, that's something beautiful to see. But, everybody always look, what if, if you've never tried something, you'll never know if you're going to accomplish it. If you're sitting here acting scared, you can't play that game scared. The game of football cannot play scared, because if you're playing it scared, afraid to go for that big play you'll never know if you can do it. Now they know they can do it. I think they went 2 for 2 on 4th down. I don't know if I read that right, but yes. But it's just amazing that them guys was on the same page, and the line gave them enough time. Everybody knew a call, because one thing too, the line was still blocking as though it was a run. I don't know if he had changed the play. They're thinking it's a run. They come off the ball real hard, which is great. They get people hands down, and they're coming hard. And then you have enough time for, like I said, you can tell them guys have been doing that probably 50 times a practice, because the ball and the position of it and the catch was just amazing. And his dance was pretty cool, too. I'm not quite sure where that came from, but it got some attention, too.
Yeah, absolutely got some attention. I can always count on Antonio Brown to do something to get some attention. That's what I love about him, is he's going to, whether it's going to be karate kick, a punter, or whatever, he's going to do something. That's what I love.
Yes.
A great win. Let's talk a little bit now about Week 2.
Yes.
And we were also talking about this last night, you and I. Back in, it was always, Cleveland Browns, Pittsburgh Steelers. That was that blood rivalry. That was that, nobody liked anybody. Everybody didn't get along. You saw somebody from the other team and you instantly hated them. That has changed now. Cincinnati Bengals are now, that rivalry, that team. It is not a come out and shake hands and let's go have pizza afterwards. It's they may need to check to make sure nobody's carrying a weapon out there, because
you're so right.
And I know from my time and being in Ohio, I could see it changing, because in Ohio, especially when you're in the Columbus area, there's a lot of Steeler fans. There's also a lot of Bengals fans. It used to be, there were Steeler fans and there was a lot of Browns fans.
Yes.
Changed now. It's now, Steeler fans and Bengals fans, and we don't like each other. You go to a sports bar for a Bengals Steelers game, and they're fighting on the TV, and everybody else throwing wings at each other. So it's not fun. But talk about, before we get into this, talk about back when you were with the Steelers. Talk about the rivalry that you had with the Browns, and how it compares now to the Steeler-Bengals rivalry.
The first thing you know whenever you become a Steeler player, once you come in and you make the team, it's one thing that's always circled, always known. Browns and Steelers don't get along. They do not. They don't agree on anything. If the sun is out, we say the sun is not out. If they say it's up, it's not. Everything they say, we say the opposite. No matter what, they do the same to us. And going there when I played, and in the dog pound, when the original dog pound, is when you come through there, and it was just crazy. They actually pour beer on you. They throw real dog bones at you. It was off the chain. It's a shame that people will never experience that in Cleveland again, because that was football. They had the grass field, you see the fans. And like I said, if you come out there with your family, you tell your family, don't wear anything with Steelers on it. Don't put anything in your window or your car. you don't do anything from the time you get there to the stadium because them people live for them. I mean, they live for it, and they took it serious too. I mean, it was one of those things, knock down, drag out. If you break your leg, you still want to be in the game because you want to be a part of the win. You want to be a part of the loss, and people look for that game. You circle it on your calendar, and you look at it now. You change times. Now Cincinnati Bengals. And now the Bengals we went from the dog pound to the jungle. You know, Steelers always picking a fight with somebody. You know, everybody want to be on top of the totem pole, but the Steelers want to stay there. So now we fight. We're in the jungle, and Marvin Lewis trying to get his guys riled up. You know, Marvin was with the Steelers. I was with Marvin at the time. He was a linebacker coach. Now he's the head coach for the Bengals. And you look at him, he's probably telling them how the Steelers think. And what he's telling them, hey, they are going to come at it, you know, to the last quarter. You know, they're very physical, and pretty much I think he's trying to turn them into the Steelers or the Cincinnati Bengals, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I agree. You can just see, you know, the physicality, the way they play. I mean, there's definitely that, you know, there's a Steeler feel when you watch them play, and you know, certainly Sunday, you know, for them, a 23-22 win over the Jets. You know, the Jets are a good football team. It was a hard-fought victory, and you know, Andy Dalton was 23 of 30, 366 yards, a touchdown, interception. They didn't run the ball real well, but I mean, you know, A.J. Green, 12 catches, 180 yards, 1 touchdown.
He had a good game.
He was definitely a star in that. You know, now, you know, we come into week 2. Again, there's no, you know, there's no, you know, Burfict for
Burfict, yes.
Bengals, you know, suspended. Marcus Wheaton, I did read today where Marcus Wheaton did participate fully in practice, so, you know, expect him to play.
Okay, good.
You know, I know that Bengals tight end, you know, is also injured. You know, you've got, when I went back and looked, we've got, you know, D'Angelo Williams did not practice today, but I know that it was non-injury related. Ryan Shazier did not practice today because of his knee. Golson, his foot did not practice. You know, also for the Bengals, Tyler Eifert, tight end, did not practice with his ankle. Adam Jones was limited in practice. But, you know, Cody Wallace, you know, was full participation, and Marcus Wheaton was full participation. So, you know, that's from the injury standpoint, and we're recording this show on Wednesday. So right now, from a, you know, for the most part, it looks like the Steelers are going to be at, you know, pretty close to full strength.
Mm-hmm.
You know, obviously, you know, I from what I heard, you know, Ryan Shazier, I mean, you know, kind of see how that goes, you know, as the week goes on. But, you know, the Bengals right now, I mean, you know, certainly, you know, Whitworth was out of practice today, but it was non-injury related. You know, they don't have, you know, Eifert, who, you know, is an outstanding tight end. Not going to have, you know, Burfict. So they've got some holes.
Yes.
Coming into this game, but you know, you almost feel like you could throw that all out the window. This is going to be.
There you go.
This is going to be a dogfight. Talk a little bit about what the Steelers need to do to win this football game.
One thing the Steelers have to do is they can't go out like in that. This will be an MMA fight. You know, it can't go out. What happened in the last game? You got to move on. You can't worry about what happened. Of course, they can come out. They're going to be physical. They're going to try to intimidate you again. But I think the referee is going to try to limit on, you know, who's going to control the game. I mean, they're going to be the one really involved. You got to make them one-dimension team. I mean, if you make them a one-dimension team, then you have something to work with. But if you get a run and pass working, because Green on their team, they got LaFleur, who had like 22.8 yards a catch. He had like 4 catches for 91 yards. Mm-hmm. He came from the New England Patriots. He's not a bad receiver. It's just that, you know, it's Green's team. And they really look at it. They're going to try to run the ball. They're going to try to make the Steelers put 8 in the box, and they're going to try to see if their corners can guard their guys. If you look at Green, I mean, he pretty much, Revis was guarding him pretty much all last week. And Revis, I consider him a good corner. And I'm sure with these young corners, they're going to test them. They can probably come out passing. They probably go pass, run, the Bengals will. We just got to make sure that the defense makes them a one-dimension team. That has to be the whole key. And the offense, they continue doing what they're doing, what they did last time. Don't stop doing what they're doing, and they'll be okay.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is a game where A.J. Green, if you are a Steelers secondary, you're a corner right now, you got to be looking at this game. You got to say, no, again, test number 2, and this is a big test. A.J. Green can take over a game, and we saw that last week. Andy Dalton, gets a lot of heat by Bengals fans, but he's a guy that just continually puts them in a position to win football games. And
isn't that the truth? Yes.
I think he gets a little bit, especially in Cincinnati at times, I think he gets a little bit too much heat. But yet the guy goes out there and wins.
Yes.
And I think the Bengals defensive line against our offensive line, I think, is another huge key.
Yes.
We've got to be able to keep them off of them. We've got to be able to run the football. And as you said, offensively, we got to do what we got to do. But to me, that's a key. I think it really becomes down to playing within ourselves. We can't allow the rivalry to overtake us. I think there were times last year where obviously we've seen it with the Bengals, and we saw it in the playoff game. But you really could look through the season and see it with both teams. I remember the Bengals Steelers game in Cincinnati last year. It was a flag fest, and in that game, and the hostilities in that game started in pregame warm-up.
Yes,
at midfield. So we have to play within ourselves. We have to be smart. This is the biggest game you're going to play all year, but this is a game where asserting dominance within the division, being 2-0,
yes,
to me is key. This is where you want to be, because I really believe this division is going to come down to Cincinnati and Pittsburgh, and I believe one of them was going to win the division, one of them is going to be a wild card.
Yes.
But you want to be that division winner, and you're at home. You've got to win this football. This is, I hate to use the term must win, but in some ways, this is a must win. This is one that the Steelers really have to, put a win in here, because, again, 1-1 is not a season, not a bad season, but boy, being 2-0 and having this win over the Bengals right now changes, in my opinion, it changes everything going forward. Now, you've got that 2-0. To me, this is a must-win.
Yeah,
and I hate using that term from a coaching standpoint, but this, to me, is a must-win.
It is a must-win. Mentally, it's give you that lead. He's like, hey, we're 2-0. We're winning our division. They had to come to our house. That's what they think about the Steelers. If the Steelers lose, they say, hey, got to come to our house. We'll be ready for them. We'll have Bruce back. He'll be back, and that's going to be even better, for them. They're looking at, okay, we can win it with him. And you got to look at it. They got a nice little kicker. He hit the winning kick against the Jets. And their punter doesn't have a bad leg, too, field position. And, yeah, like you said, it's just mentally to get that win and be 2-0, because that is like a must-win. Because you look back on that and you circle your calendar, if we had just won this game, so if we can go 2-0, that's not a bad way to start your season off, especially against a guy or a team like the Bengals.
Exactly, and to me, it comes down to you got to win your games at home, and this is one that you got to win at home. I believe rivalry games, you got to win them at home, because they are real hard to win on the road. And that game later in the season is, quite possibly could be for a division championship. So this is one, you want to have in your back pocket, because you don't want to be going to Cincinnati in a position where maybe you're a game out of first place.
That's it.
And now you lose in Cincinnati, so now you're 0-2 against Cincinnati, so now you don't have a tiebreaker.
Exactly.
You don't want to have that situation hanging over your head. So this is one you got to have, and I'm pumped for this game. This is going to be fun. I remember last year in the playoff game. I mean, it was.
Wow.
I didn't have a voice afterwards. I mean, I must have yelled at the TV, from beginning to end.
Pandemonium going on. I mean,
and remember having, being there, sitting there, going, man, I can't believe we lost this game, and all of a sudden you got a fumble, and here comes Ben back out on the field, and with an injury that a lot of guys wouldn't be able to play with. Most guys wouldn't be able to play with, and coming out back on the field and quite honestly taking them down, winning the football game. You got all the, the craziness with Pac-Man Jones. You had all that and everything going on. And you got a stadium that's losing their. You got a stadium that's losing their mind, and you're winning a playoff game. So there's going to be, believe me, there's going to be Bengals that will be coming out on that field. They're going to be remembering that. So.
Oh yes, they are. I know Marvin Lewis can be, homecoming for him, and he's looking at. Have he won a playoff game yet? I think that's a big thing going on with him not winning a playoff game too. And I think he's probably upset because the Steelers beat him, that he finally had a chance to win one against a former team, and he loses again. I think he's the only one that hasn't won a playoff game, the losingest coach ever that would not win a playoff game. So
yeah, I mean, so right now, there's going to be a lot going on with this. I think it's going to be nice. It's going to be a fun game to watch. What's your prediction for this?
It's going to be a good game. I mean, as far as the score, I'm looking at 21-13. Because I mean, it's not going to be a blowaway, but I think that they're going to make the field goals and try to keep it somewhat of a game. I think the Steelers running game, is going to keep them off balance, and also Jesse James should play a big role in this right here. They're going to try to shut down Antonio with two people, and Whedon coming back. That's another two more probably taking over. But Jesse James should have a good game, and of course D'Angelo, pray that he stays healthy. He gets to churn things out, and the O-line move him. And the defense does their thing. They got to hit Green when he catch the ball. Can't give him the run after the catch, and because if you do, you're going to have a long day. And Dalton, he will run the ball. Now, don't get me wrong. He'll run the ball for the first down, and you got to be careful about blitzing too much. Like I said, the zone worked last week. We'll see what happens this week.
I agree. I'm going to say 27-20.
Okay.
I feel like Pittsburgh, I think, will do some things offensively. We'll move the football. AJ Green is going to get one or two. But yes. I think that's the key. You gotta contain him to one or two. I think the Steelers defense, I think, will play well. They will have their moments. Look, this is a good offense. You got Dalton, the quarterback. You got AJ Green. They would be even better if they had Eifert at tight end. But this is still a good offense. Mm-hmm. They're going to come out. They're going to play. They're going to play physical Bengals football, and we're going to have to match that. But I think again, as I said last week, I think offensively, I'm not sure that there's a defense out there that completely shut down Pittsburgh, and I see 27 points. I see the Bengals at times when they have played the Steelers. I don't know what it's been over the years, but at times they get out of rhythm. There have been years where, honestly, it's like, why are you not throwing the football to AJ Green?
Yes.
So, I'm going to be interested to see that, are they going, you've got to force the ball to him if you're the Bengals. And there are times where, he becomes a non-factor because they're just not looking at him.
Exactly.
And if you watch game film of those games, it's not that he's not open. They're just not throwing him the football. And it's like, how do you not throw the football to this guy? So, I've got to believe they're going to try to force the ball to A.J. Green. And I think that the Steelers defensively, I think with the new scheme and the style at which they're playing, I think is going to give some problems. And Green is going to get some catches, but I think the real key. But the other real key too is the Steelers defensive line has got to get pressure on Dalton. And I think there were times in Washington where they got some pressure, but you've got to get pressure on him. You've got to make him uncomfortable. And so that, to me, I feel like that's going to be the key, and I think that the Steelers will get that done. And like I said, I'm going with 27-20.
That sounds good to me. 21-13 on my end.
All right.
All right, young fella.
Another week in the book.
Sounds great.
I want to thank everybody for listening. Again, you can get on grillingtruth.com, and there's all kind of great shows. I know that I do a CFL Pick'em show. There's baseball. There's football. I know there's a Bengals show that's actually also being done tonight. There's a 49ers show. You name it. Go on there and look at all the great shows and take some time to listen. There's some really great shows. And with that, Dwight, until we talk again next week,
sounds good.
Any final words?
Yes, sir. Make sure you hydrate, and may God bless you and all who listen to us.
Yeah, that's an inside joke there. But I want to thank everybody for listening. Until next week, you've been listening to the Steeler Weekly Show, and look forward to talking to everybody next week. Till then, see you later. Bye-bye.